Super excited to announce a new partner that I'm working with, Meat Locker Official. They are a meat company. They ship all kinds of meat. Go check out their website, meatlocker.com. It's amazing. Man, let me tell you, the bacon. The bacon's the best bacon I've ever had in my life. All the other meats are very good. I had a nice ribeye the other day, chicken breast, all kinds of stuff. The steaks and the bacon, though, for sure the best bacon I've ever had in my life. Meatlocker.com. Type in the code name Easton 2019. EASTON 2019, and you will receive 15% off of your order. Again, meatlocker.com. Get some bacon. Evo Labs products. Man, I love a couple of Evo Labs products that I like to use. I like to use their skin repair and intensive salve. Man, the skin repair is amazing for when I get like these little abrasions on my skin, and you're always worried about like whether you're going to get an infection or not, or how it's going to heal. Skin repair, Evo Labs skin repair. Go check them out, evolabs.com. And then 2, their intensive salve. Okay. Again, this is for like a little bit of soreness after I train at the end of the day. Rub it all over, like especially like my upper back and my arms, then my legs. Love it. Again, evolabs.com. I do also like their Meditate. It's a CBD pen where, at the end of the night, it helps me calm down, go to sleep, especially after like intense training during the day. So those 3 products are 3 of my favorite products from Evo Labs. 1, the skin repair, 2, the intense salve, and 3, the CBD pen. The Gospel Fire also brought to you by Onnit, ONNIT. Go to their website and man, go check out their products. Code name is Eliot. You put in Eliot, ELIOT, and you will get 10% off all of your Onnit products. I personally like the Alpha Brain. That is my favorite product, and every once in a while I like to use their Shroom Tech as well. So those 2 products are my favorite from Onnit. So again, Evo Labs guys at evolabs.com and Onnit, ONNIT. Check them out. Thanks for the support of the podcast from those guys, and hell yeah, let's get after it. Hey guys, this is former UFC fighter Elliot Marshall, and this is the Gospel Fire, where we're going to go through the fire to learn how to live the best life possible. Here we go. Next episode, Gospel Fire. I am here. Holy shit, man. So there's a couple people that I always say that I like owe my life to sometimes, and like how I got to where I am. And I have one of them today. My J Jack, what up, man?
How's it going, Elliot?
I'm good.
And that intro, it's one of those things where like when I see what you're doing, I am super proud of you for sure. It's always just funny when you will say something like that, because I'm like, how, like, I feel like we were like brothers in a family. It doesn't. I guess I never had the big brother that made me feel like motivated or whatever. So like I always look at it like, dude, we were on the path at the same time. How the hell was I motivating to you? Because we were running at the same time. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like I was just as inspired by shit that you did.
Yeah, but like what? But you were like the leader of us a little bit, you know. Like, and I don't even know like if that. I don't even know how to phrase it, because you guys, okay, so for me at that time, right, like you guys were all way older than me.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
So I was still a kid, like 19 years old or something.
Yep.
You know, like maybe 20. So like you're super impressionable at that time in your life, right? Because you're trying to figure out like who you are as a man, you know, which I think I'm still trying to figure out. But as far as like what like you showed me how not to be afraid. You know, and like that I was going to be afraid, you know, like I think some lessons that I didn't even realize that I was learning. Yeah. You know, like I wasn't even aware of that's what I was learning. And you kept like, even like, I remember like something that's, I mean, I don't do it with my class, but because I have a lot of older dudes, and I don't think they want to get punched in the head at all.
Yeah.
But like, man, we were fucking hardcore, bro, because of you. Like, there was at least once a week, you would put boxing gloves on somebody, right? in class, and two guys with boxing gloves would be out in the middle, and we would have to get them down. You know? And like, that was like, fuck, I can't be more grateful for that, because like, whether I ever went on to fight or not fight or do all the stuff that I had accomplished, I knew that I could I could scrap, if I had to, like, against just like a normal person, not like, not like be the UFC world champion. I knew when you got me the job at the bar, right, which allowed me that job at the bar that you got me. Like, they've never hired anybody under 21. I wasn't 21 yet. You got them to give me the job, right? Like, you talked them into it. And, but that's what allowed me to like train all day and then work at night to make money to support myself. Like, without that, I guess I would have figured it out. Maybe not. We'll never be able to say whether I would have or I wouldn't have. But that kind of stuff, like, is and then just being able to do the job at the bar. Because it's different. Like, it's not a jiu-jitsu. You have to, like, you taught me how to talk to people in a way that was like, hey man, like, are you sure this is what you want to do? Because if this is what you want to do, this is what's going to happen. But it wasn't in this like, I'm going to
macho.
Yeah, it wasn't this macho way. It wasn't this like, I'm going to fuck you up kind of way. It was in this like, I don't know, man. This like, this is how it's going to go down.
I don't realize, jiu-jitsu is important to me for sure. And it's a mode that I can give people this stuff. But like, the lesson for me and what I feel like my purpose is to teach people, like, it's so played out to say how to be harder, how to be tougher. Like, that's such a contrite way to explain it. But like, and I don't want to make it sound overly dramatic by going like, live a stoic lifestyle or whatever. Like, I can't find the right description, but I think my life is about teaching people how to be less afraid and learn how to stand up.
Bro, you saw me at my greatest points of like pussydom, right? Like if there's no other way to call it. Like, I would run off the mat screaming when somebody like need me in the head. You were there for all of this. Like, people can't believe it now. So like, when I say I'm the biggest pussy that people know, like, they can't believe it, because like, they can Google me, right?
Yeah, they see you now.
Yeah, they see me now. They see this product of Eliot, but they didn't see the white belt Eliot. And you saw the white belt Eliot, and you're the one who helped change the white belt Eliot.
That's pretty cool, man. That's awesome.
So that's why I say that, like, Amal's like the godfather, right? Amal's like the dude that was there at the top who made us all possible to do all the shit that we're able to do now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And without a doubt, like, I think you and I both say we owe like our whole life to him.
Yeah, for sure. 100%.
His mom just asked me to sign a copy of my book for her. And I just wrote like, hey, thanks for creating him, because I don't know what I would have without him.
Yeah.
Like,
he gave me the tools. It's like, I knew what my life path was supposed to be. It's like, if you're supposed to dig this ditch, and you got to dig it, and you have a spoon, like, I'm going to dig this ditch, but like, he gave me a backhoe. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was like, holy shit, this makes everything so much better. It's
hard to describe him, right? Like,
yeah,
like, you have to meet him, like, and you have to like really experience him. Like, we have a verb for him now, and I was hanging out with Alberto the other like a couple weeks ago, and I was like, Amal, he's Amaling, and Alberto was like, oh my god, that's amazing, because that's what he does. He just Amals, and by him Amaling, it like changes people's lives. Yeah.
That's pretty fun, man. That's pretty cool. I think I always like. I think it was a cool dichotomy, because like Amal and I are very different, and people get different lessons from both of us. Like, and at that time in the gym, it was really interesting to have both things, like, he was much more rational than I was back then. I've learned how to grow up a little bit since then, but like he was much more rational. He was much more like understanding. Like I was still a little young and pissy. You know what I mean? Like I didn't have the ability to control my emotions as much as I do now. And he taught me a lot of like how to stay logical and calm and like reason shit out and not be like, yeah, let's just kill everybody in the room. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, we still tell stories about you, bro.
What's funny is I'll still get calls every once in a while from people, even people that were my teachers. Like I'll still get calls every once in a while about, hey, here's a situation. What would you do? Like they get the curiosity, like, how would you handle this? And I'll go like, this is what I would say. Like I've got good verbal jiu-jitsu, I think.
Oh yeah. You have the best verbal jiu-jitsu. I've never seen anybody do verbal jiu-jitsu better than you, man. Holy shit.
It's pretty good. I can talk. It's weird to say I can talk my way, because it's not that I'm talking my way out of things, because that implies like I'm trying to get out of it, and I'm really not. But it's like
you're trying to actually get into it. Like you're hoping this person chooses the path of like harder resistance for everyone, you know. But like the way you. Like, I mean, let's just give the example. So the best example that I ever saw of it was
I have no idea what you're about to say.
So the jiu-jitsu school, so everyone can understand, was in this strip mall, and it was only Boulder at the time. So you have to, like the tattoo on my arm is BJJB, because it's Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu Boulder, because that's all that existed. There was no Denver. There was no like this whole empire that we have now. So, and down the strip mall, like 4 doors down, there was this dance studio. You know?
Yeah.
And yeah, now you know where I'm going. And you know, the dance studio didn't open until like 5 o'clock or something. And they rented out their space at 4 o'clock for this guy to teach like Taekwondo or something. And we were teaching kids jiu-jitsu, like literally 3 doors down. The landlord didn't know about it, you know, because Amal had there couldn't be any martial arts schools in
no compete clause.
You know, so no other martial arts schools could be in that strip mall. And you know, Amal wasn't so happy about it. And he wasn't quite sure how to deal with it. So he sent you down. And like at first everyone was all nervous. Like we thought this guy was going to come back. Amal and I were sitting in the office like, holy fuck, man, is this guy going to come back bloody?
Well, so here's the problem. Amal didn't really send me.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Like Amal went, I am displeased with this. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. Nope, I'll go take care of it.
Right. And like, so we were in the office. There was the 3 of us in the office. So when you said you were going to take care of it, that's a better way to describe it. We were like, oh my God, like, you know,
he's going to kill him.
He's going to kill this guy. Like he's going to kill this guy. But the next thing we know, this guy comes back, man. And he's like on his knees.
I brought him back with me.
Yeah, he's on his knees, like bowing to Amal. Like Amal's sitting at the desk, and he's like on his knees, like praying with his eyes closed, like apologizing to Amal for how disrespectful he has been, and saying that he's never going to teach again there, you know, and like we were just like, holy fuck, like. It was amazing. If we could video it, I would show this to everyone.
Oh yeah, it would be money if you could video it. What's funny is how Amal didn't mean to, but made it so much worse for the dude, because Amal's like non-confrontational. Like, I mean, he'll get it done. He ain't a bitch. You know what I mean? Like if somebody made him put up, he'd put up. You know what I mean? Like he's not a punk.
But he's definitely non-confrontational.
Yeah, he just doesn't want a problem. Like he doesn't enjoy that. You know what I mean? And it's funny because it's like the dude came in, like it was for sure like the whole, you joke, like you're like, oh, he's the Godfather. But at that moment, that dude was in a real bad movie. Like that dude. Yeah, that dude was like
dude was in The Godfather, and he was sitting like with Don Corleone, like, oh my God, Godfather, I am so sorry.
I had no idea this was your corner. You know what I mean? It was one of those.
Yeah.
And Amal, but like I remember Amal like had his feet on the desk and was like eating lunch. It was just very nonplussed, but it made the dude more scared.
And I don't like, you have to understand that was just Amal. He wasn't trying to do that.
No, he really wasn't. Like, that's what's so fucking funny about it is he literally was just like, yeah, cool, man, no problem. But the dude, like, he was so like, hey, no problem. I understand. I'm not upset. Like, Jay gets upset. And that's true. Like, he's like, I didn't even ask him to do it. That's just how he is. And he wasn't, it's like you couldn't have written the script to make the dude more fucked up. You know what I mean? like, hey, listen, I didn't ask him to do it. That's just how he is. He's very emotional. I'm not like that. I'm rational. I try to keep him in line. And it's like, you can't write it better. It was like such a good cop, bad cop thing. And
you didn't even threaten the guy, right? Like, you didn't even say you were going to fuck him up.
Oh, not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all. No, I explained to him about matters of honor and told him how he was in the wrong place. And it's fucked up. You know what I mean? It's like when you say a funny joke and everybody laughs and then you try to tell somebody what you said, it don't come out funny.
Right.
It's like, it's not a plan and it's not a thing, but like, I can run that shit really well in the moment. But then if I try to tell somebody about it afterwards, it's not funny. You know what I mean? It's like, when you repeat the joke later, you're like, I guess you had to be there. It's not very funny. Like when I tell somebody what I told him, everybody's like, well,
yeah,
what is
whatever.
that?
Yeah, it doesn't matter. But all I know is this guy was on his fucking hands and knees, like you said it right. Like he was literally like praying to Don Corleone. You know,
it was
like,
great.
Please, Godfather, don't fucking kill me.
It was great.
It was one of the funniest things I've ever seen.
Planned it. Like he was so chill and so like, hey, it's not me, it's him. Jay gets excited. Jay gets emotional. It, like the dude, it was great.
Yeah.
Like it was literally, we couldn't have practiced it better. It was pretty fucking funny. Yeah, but the dude split. Like
yeah, he was gone. He never taught again. That was it.
Like he didn't teach that day.
Yeah, no. He told the people that he couldn't teach that day and left.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like I'd never seen anything like that before, without like the threat of physical violence, because you never did that.
No, it was good. It's funny because I actually am. This is pretty bad. I actually am good enough at that. So that's part of self-defense. You know how like sometimes I'm getting all over the place now. Tell me where you want to go with this shit, but it's like
go.
Part of you know, like if you carry concealed, right? Like if you carry concealed, one of the things they'll tell you if you take a class is how to handle something after an incident, like what to say to the cops and how to say it and whatever, right? And that's something that a lot of martial arts instructors, a lot of self-defense instructors don't really address. And not self-defense instructors, but I don't know, man, like you teach these people how to scrap, but you don't really teach them. You teach them the physicality of how to scrap, but you don't teach, a lot of people don't get the moral lessons of why to scrap and when and how and what for and when it's important and shit. And it's like, then half the people teach that, the other half don't, but then nobody teaches about how to talk about it afterwards. Like what you say when the cops roll up, you know what I mean? You don't go, that motherfucker talked shit about my old lady and I whooped his ass. Like you're going to jail.
Yeah, you're fucked.
Like that is the wrong rap. You know what I mean? Like you don't say that. And there's way to word things and there's way to, you know, comport yourself when you discuss it with the police afterwards. And it's funny because I teach all my people that. And to me, it's normal. But other people, when they first hear it, they're like, what the fuck is happening here? Like, what school have I run into that talks about how to talk to the cops after you fuck somebody up? Like, what kind of life lesson is happening here? It's just funny. But anyway, it's
but
like,
that's what you did, right? Like you like if he would have called the police, there was nothing to say.
No, there's nothing to say. Like, I'm not an idiot. One time, here's a good story. One time, this dude, this guy trained with me, and if you're in the martial arts long enough, you guys know what I'm talking about. Like you end up with like somebody train with you for a little while and they, you know, they want to use your material or use your logo or claim allegiance or whatever, and they don't deserve it. And you got to go have a discussion, you know, like that's just something that happens. Like somebody's going to fly the flag that shouldn't, and you got to go have that talk, you know? And this dude used, like, I booted him out of the gym, and then he wound up using, like, it wasn't my logo to the point where it was legally enforceable, but it was enough of it. He was trying to.
He knew he used your logo.
Yeah, he was doing the subtle association thing, but staying out of trouble, right? And so I saw it and I pulled over. I was standing outside his gym. I saw it. I pull over and I call him and I leave a message and I go, hey, man, You know what I mean? And I understand. I'm not an idiot. Like, I get everything I say is going to be played back in court. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not dumb. So I was like, listen, here's the deal. You got to take that fucking sign down. You have 48 hours or you and I are going to have serious personal problems. And the next day, this cop calls me because the douche calls the cops. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's how he's going to handle it. He's going to call the cops, right? So I don't know, man. I grew up kind of white trash. So I'm like, you know, that's not my first recourse is calling the police. But this guy calls the cops, and the cop gets on the phone with me, and dude's on the phone like it's a 3-way call. They're gonna like get in and fucking intervene or whatever. And the guy goes, "Listen, you can't call and threaten people." I said, "Hey man, I did not threaten him with anything illegal. Like I said, we're gonna have serious personal problems, and we are. I will be personally agitated at him and will do everything in my power within the law to make his life miserable. I will stand the appropriate amount of space away from his gym, speaking into a megaphone, the appropriate decibel allowed by law, telling everyone what a scumbag he is." You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to do everything I can legally in order to make this guy's life miserable if he doesn't take it down. He's got 24 hours left. And the cop is like, "Okay, well, it sounded like what he thought you meant was breaking his leg." And I'm like, well, that's because he's a coward, and that's immediately where he goes. But obviously, I'm going to have serious personal problems with him, and I'm going to make it my business to be the largest legal thorn in his side that I possibly can. So tell him again, he's got 24 hours remaining. And the guy was like, "Well, there's nothing we can do. He's not threatening you with anything that is illegal, and you're on your own. And if I were you, I'd take down the sign." And the dude took the sign down. Now, obviously, I meant I'm going to break his fucking leg. You know what I mean? Like, clearly, like, he's not stupid. He knows what I meant when I said you and I are going to have issues. But you don't be dumb enough to say that on the phone. You know, you don't fucking call somebody and go, "I'm going to break your leg." Like, what are you doing? Like, that's not how you handle that.
Sure.
You know?
Sure.
Yeah.
You have this special gift, man. You know? I don't know what to tell you. Like, you can try to teach all your students, but like, look, I mean, like there's another story about you, man, and like this is just how you roll. And I listened to it on your podcast, you know, when you were doing it. Yeah. It was the story. Who was the black kid? What's his name that used to train with you? T. Yeah, it was when you and T were working at the bar, I think, right? Mm-hmm. And the dude pulled the knife on him, and he like ran away. You know, he asked T if he wanted to die today, and like then you saw T like a minute later. And you were like, "T, what's the matter?" And you were like, "Oh, that guy walking away over there. He pulled a knife on me. I feel like a coward because I got scared." And he asked me if I wanted to die, and I was like, "No, I don't." So I walked away. And you went and chased this dude down. Yeah. Right. And then you grab the guy, and he pulls the knife on you and asks you if you want to die. And you will. And your response, I believe, what you said was, "Yeah, gladly, man. What am I going to do? Die of old age? Cancer in my ass? Like, I'm going to die with some honor. Let's see what's up. You know."
Like, what a horrible movie ending would it, like, if somebody made a movie about my life, what a terrible, like, I mean, I've had some interesting shit. I ain't nothing special, but I've had some interesting things occur. Like, if anybody knows me, like, there's been a bunch of interesting stuff. Well,
you're the one who lets Jerry Springer know. You're the one who lets us all know that Jerry Springer is true. Like, that shit is definitely true. Like, they don't make that up.
No, that's real. Yeah, right. Like, and half of them are related to me. So it's like that, you know what I mean? Like, I've had an interesting life, and it would be a fucking shame, I think, for the end of that movie to be, then he got old for a long time and died. You know what I mean? Like, what, you'd be so pissed if you watched this insane movie about this fucking crazy life. Like, it's like the X-rated Saw version of fucking Forrest Gump. You know what I mean? Just like life cycle after life cycle and weird shit happening and overlapping, you know? It's like a really, really explicit version of that.
The X-rated Saw version of Forrest Gump. Yeah.
You know? And it's like, but how fucking lame would it be if, like, after all this crazy shit, it's just like, and then from, 40 to 70, he basically played chess and died. Like, that would suck. So, like, of course I'd rather die getting stabbed in a fucking alleyway. Like, why wouldn't I want that? You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to die slow of fucking colon cancer. You know what I mean? Like, I'd much rather somebody kill me. You know?
I mean, that's how you roll. That's like, if we're trying to paint the picture of how you are, like, everyone else would say that T was exactly right in what he did, right? And you chased the guy down, right?
Yeah,
Didn't you like take the knife from him and say, "Hey, man, you know how you thank God every morning when you wake up?"
No, he threw the knife down and ran. Like, there's a bunch of stories like that, but like that guy particularly, like I saw him and everybody was upset. They chucked this dude out of the bar. I was on the front door and they throw the guy out. And you know, like when people come busting past you, you know, some dude got thrown. And I'm like, everybody's fucking amped. And I'm like, what's going on? Like, why is everybody so amped? Because usually when they throw somebody out, it's more of a laughing affair than that kind of amped. And I was like, well, you know, why is everybody so pissed? And they were like, dude had a fucking knife, pulled the knife on T. And I went, what? And everybody's like, yeah, man, he's got a knife. And in my head, I'm just like, why the fuck is he walking? Like, what? How did 6 of you have a hold of him and he's not in the basement getting fucking throat fucked? Like, I don't understand. How is he walking right now? And I got real upset. I was like, why is he walking? And they're like, dude, he had a knife. What do you want to do? And I stepped off the bricks and started going towards him. And I said, hey, you pull a knife on my guy? And he goes, yeah, and pulls it out and he goes, do you want to die? And I went, yes, and started running towards him. And he just goes, ah, and drops the knife.
That makes it even better. That makes the story even better.
You know, I'm like, yeah, dude, please, like, let's go. I don't want to be old. Let's do this together. And he was just like, no, that's not what I signed up for. I'm out. Just dropped the shit and ran, you know?
So this is you, you know? So if anybody's going to understand what I say about you, you beat the coward out of me. This is what you do, you know? Like,
it's funny, man. It's like, you know, what's interesting is that it's a lesson that is lost. And I'm really glad that you talk about it because it's kind of like, that's kind of wrapped up in your gig. And that's really important, but it's like, it blows my mind. Like, I don't teach kids here. It's for obvious fucking reasons. Like, look at me and the way I talk and behave.
Hold on. Let's go back for a second. So don't forget what your point is. Okay. Don't forget what your point is. But this is one of my favorite moments with you, bro. So I'm about to teach the kids, you know, and there used to be this website called onthemat.com. And the school is filled with kids right now. There's probably 20 of them in the school with their mom and dads, right?
Before you tell this story, be clear. This was when the internet, we were still figuring.
Yeah, we didn't know anything. So we're talking 1999.
Internet, you know, and onthemat.com was one of the first, like, everybody went to it to check websites.
It was the only jiu-jitsu site.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. So
Jay then types in on the mats. He puts an S on the end of it.com. And literally all this gay porn just pops up.
Yep.
And it's not quiet either. And you just hear him go, Elliot, come here. And like,
I don't know how to do anything with computers.
Yeah, Jay, you know, you still don't, you know, and he like run over and I run over and there's like a dude banging another dude. And I'm like, whoa. And I just like turn the whole thing off.
Now listen, before anybody gets the wrong impression, I'm not homophobic at all.
Yeah, no, it's nothing with the gay.
It's not a problem. The problem is there's children in the room. And it wasn't that it was gay. It was that there was porn.
Yeah, no. It happened to be gay porn. It could have been straight porn. Dude,
it doesn't
style
matter.
of porn doesn't matter. You can't have that.
Dude. And the way Amal's office was set up, you remember it was set up where everybody walking past the strip mall could look in the office and see the computer.
And it was just a glass piece. It wasn't even like, it was just a partition. It wasn't even really separated.
Like, you got people coming up outside to drop their kids off and I'm holding my gi open trying to cover porn.
Yeah.
Computer. I'm just like, Elliot, help me. I didn't know what to do, man. You turned off the monitor. I was like, dude, I don't know. And you're like, what are you doing? I don't know, dude. I want to look at the fucking UFC results. I don't know what happened.
That was hilarious. So anyway, what was your point? You don't teach kids, you know, part of my spiel. Go ahead.
Like, I don't do kids in the gym like I teach adults. I mean, we have some 12-year-olds, but parents are always warned when they come to me with kids. I'm like, listen, here's the deal. This is the environment. I would teach my 7-year-old in this environment. This is how I teach people of all ages. Just to understand, this is not going to be, did you turn in your homework, Johnny? Have you made your bed? And are you listening to mommy and daddy? Like, that's not what we're going to do. I'm going to teach your kid how to be a murderer, just like I teach adults. You know what I mean? Like, it's going to be the way it is. And they're like, most people aren't into that. Most people don't bring me their kids. So like, I have a couple of teenagers and no like young kids. And one of my students has a kids only gym down the road. So it works out beautiful. He takes all the people that are scared of me, and that's awesome. But anyway, so I have students that come in and they have their little kids. And it's like, it's nuts to me that people don't have a premium on teaching their kids how to fucking stand up.
Oh my God, it kills me.
And I don't even mean like jiu-jitsu. Like, I get it. Like, these little kids are super, super young. They're way too young to understand the intricacies of jiu-jitsu and such like that. But it's like, man, I'll train them just like you train a protection dog. You know what I mean? Like, I'll tell the kid, like, I'll look at the kid and the kid will get uncomfortable and start to like cry and whine. And I'll go, do you want to, you want to know the magic word? And they go, what? And I go, say no. And they go, no. And when they say it, I act like they punched me with something. They go, no. And I go, ooh. And it shocks me and pushes me away from them. And you see the kid go, what? And then I'll start putting pressure back on them. I'll start to eye fuck them all weird. And they'll go, no. And I go, oh, like they hit me with a force field. And we'll play this game a couple times. And every time they come in, I do that. And it's like the parents don't even know. They think I'm playing fucking peekaboo with their kid. They don't know. They literally can't even see the lesson that the kid is getting. But like every time the kid comes in, I put more and more pressure and I like push into him and bully him and hard eye fuck him and shit. And the kid starts to learn how to stand up and gets like his chest out and goes like, leave me alone. And I go, oh, and walk up. You know what I mean? Dude. Like by the time that kid's 12, he's going to be a fucking monster, whether he knows jiu-jitsu or not. He's going to know how to be hard.
I do this with my kids, man. Like my 2 kids, not anybody else's kids. You know, like,
I do it with anybody that comes in my space. I'm like, every fucking being that comes in here is leaving harder than they came.
I hit my kids. Like I'll just like hit them upside the head. And it used to be like, Daddy, why are you doing that? And now they turn around and they hit me back.
Yes.
You know, and I'm not hitting them hard. It's not child abuse, you know,
no.
But they have to know that like if somebody hits them, that the response, like not talk, but if somebody hits them on purpose,
sure,
right, that the response is you're going to turn around and you're going to look at them and like you're going to hit them,
yes.
You know, and like I can remember one time Kanan, he was in 1st grade and he left his sweater outside, you know, at school, and he thought a 3rd grader took it, you know, and like that's a big difference 1st and 3rd grade. Right?
Yep.
Like a kid's that young. So I was like, all right, man. Like he was all upset. And I was like, you're going to have to go handle that. And he goes, what does that mean, Dad? I'm like, you're going to go and ask that kid for your sweater back tomorrow. You know?
Yeah.
And he's like, well, what if he won't give it to me? I was like, well, then you're going to have to get it back. You know?
Yes.
And he's like, well, what does that mean? I was like, well, look, you can go talk to the teacher about it. I'm okay with that. But you're going to handle this. Or like if he like says, if he gets in your face, you cannot back down. You know, he's like, what do you mean I can't back down? I was like, you have to, like, I know you're going to be afraid, you know?
Yeah.
And then he just starts losing it. He's 6 years old, right? He just starts losing it. I'm trying to like talk him through it and yada, yada. And then finally I just like hit him upside the head because he's scared to get into a fight and get hit. You know, and I hit him harder than any 3rd grader is going to They're going to hit him. And then I hit him and he looks at me and goes, what'd you do that for? You know, and I was like, yeah, you see how you're angry now? You see how like all of a sudden you're not crying? You see how you're looking at me, mad at me? You know, like you're all your fear is gone. And he's like, well, yeah, you hit me. And I'm like, well, what would you like to do to me? He's like, I want to hit you back now. And I'm like, well, look, the 3rd grader won't hit you harder than that.
Yeah.
You know, so now you understand the fear of getting punched in the face is gone.
It's fucked up. I don't know what the right answer is because I don't have kids, right? And obviously I probably fucking shouldn't. I mean, my wife had me clipped when she first met me, so I ain't no kids coming out. But it's like I would definitely raise my kid to be hard. You know what I mean? Like it's hard to even explain. One of the problems with modern parenting, I don't know how to fix it other than jiu-jitsu. Like jiu-jitsu is the fix.
Jiu-jitsu is the answer. Jiu-jitsu is the answer. Yes.
For sure. Because I didn't have jiu-jitsu, but my dad beat my ass. And it was through him beating my ass that I realized beatings weren't that bad.
Right.
That's how I learned beatings weren't that bad because my dad hit really, really hard.
And no, we're not suggesting that, right? It's the beautiful thing of jiu-jitsu, right? Is they get to come in and get like beat up in a real controlled way.
That's the point, is that there's a controlled measurable, scalable way to acclimate yourself to the physical pressure of fighting.
Yes.
Like, that's the thing. Unfortunately, it's like if you go to an old school fucking lifting gym, they don't have like scalable, like you just get slammed. Everybody just lifts heavy and you survive or you die or you get the fuck out of the gym, right? And that's cool, but you're going to reach far less people like that, you know? And nowadays people are smart. Like, they'll come in and instead of just doing craziness, they have like PVC pipe you can practice your lifting with. You know what I mean? Like that kind of shit. Like, it's scalable,
right,
and you can build people up. Like, back in the day, you got hard or you died, and that was it. Like, it either broke you or it made you stronger. But the problem is you can't reach as many people like that. It's not scalable, and it's not able to reach the people that need it the most desperately. The people that need it the most desperately are the weakest people.
They'll never make it.
Yes. And so you have to be able to bring the pressure along slowly to build them up. And that's the beauty of jiu-jitsu. Like, if parenting went back to kicking kids in the head, like, you're going to have a lot of kids that are tough, but you're also going to have a lot of broken kids. You know what I mean? And that's bad, but jiu-jitsu is the answer. But the thing is, man, like, for sure, children not understanding the nature of violence and being scared of it is a huge problem.
It's no good. It's why we have this whole bully thing.
The bullying thing, man, it's interesting because it's like I work with dogs on the side. Like, I do a lot of dog training on the side, and it's really interesting to watch the parallels in learning how predator and prey roles are learned and switched up and around, you know? And it's like, there's two things that cause a problem. People are so disconnected from violence now. Kids are so disconnected from not just violence, but physical hardship and tough making. You know what I mean? Like, they're just so disconnected from that idea.
Hold on, I want to back up for a second when you say disconnected from violence. They're connected to this like fake violence, like on video games and movies, but they're never going to be in that violence. They're disconnected from like the one-on-one interaction with another person, even when it's not violent, right? Even just confrontation.
There was a really good book. You gotta listen to it. There's this really good book called On Killing is the name of the book.
My friend recommended it to me.
Yeah, it's really good, man. It's really good. But the guy kind of makes a parallel. In the sense of like, it's like porn. Like, a person has access to this hypersexuality, but it's not real. Like, they're not partaking in it. They're still shielded from it. It's still not the reality of it being right there up close. You know what I mean?
Right.
And its violence is the same way. Kids have access to more violence than they ever did. They can watch Saw. They can watch a kid get his head cut off. You know what I mean?
Right.
And they've never skinned their own knee on a skateboard. Nobody's ever punched them and taken their truck. Do you know what I mean? Like, nobody's punched them and taken their toy.
Right.
Like they are on one hand, like, hyper acclimated to this false violence, but they have no sense of it in their own life. You know what I mean? And it's fucked up. It's like, dude, do you know, like, kids will get like, I guarantee you, the majority of humanity in this modern age, the majority of people, I could put them on the edge of a roof and make them jump off the roof by threatening them to beat them up. Like, I'm going to fucking beat your ass if you don't jump. I guarantee you they'll jump off the roof, because falling, they have experience, not to that degree, not to that intensity, but their head is wrapped around the idea of falling better than the idea of taking a beating. They'll jump off a fucking roof to avoid a beating. And that's insanity. You know what I mean? Like, just knowing what it is, just like, yeah, whoop my ass, dude. Like, I'm not jumping off the roof. You can suck a dick, like, beat me up. I don't care. It's dude.
But it's true, you know, like, look, the lesson that I teach my kids is like that they're the toughest, that no one in their school is tougher than them. Yeah. And then I ask them why. And they're like, well, because I know how to get beat up, Dad. That's the answer. Is that they'll get beat, not that they can beat everyone up, man. Kanan's 9 years old, right? Like, of course the 7th grader's going to kick his ass.
Sure.
You know, like that, like he doesn't stand a chance. He's too tiny.
Of course. You know?
But he'll be there. He's not going to run from it.
Yeah.
You know? Like, if that's what it's going to take, that's what it's going to take. Like, And it's the non-fear of conflict. Even just touching another person. Like I watch my kids and the other kids that do jiu-jitsu play other sports. They crush it. And they crush it because they're not afraid of like the contact between two people.
Yep.
You know, and once you get over that, like, okay, you're gonna bump into each other, you're gonna fall down, like you just said, you're gonna scrape your knee, it might be bleeding, and then you're gonna get up.
Yeah.
You know, you're gonna get up.
The two biggest missing lessons for people, I mean adults too, but kids, it's like most adults I can't save anymore. You know what I mean? Like they're too stuck in the habit. You know, I mean, I try my hardest. That's the whole point of my life at this point. But it's easier to reach a kid before they're deep in the habit of fucking weakness, you know?
What's the Frederick Douglass quote? It's easier to build strong, to bring up strong children than change broken men. Something like that. Yeah.
100%, right? But it's like the fear of consequence. Do you know what I mean? Like the fear of violence and physical confrontation. But now what I'm starting to realize is even more pervasive and insidious is this social approval. Do you know what I mean? Like people wanting to be accepted by society is a fucking disease, and it's horrible. And it's I've seen more people lose more aspects of their life for that than being scared of getting beat up. You know what I mean? More people live in misery and fear every day of losing social approval than people worried about getting their wallets taken or getting raped or something. You know what I mean?
Because getting your wallet taken, it's just not a big deal anymore.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like we talk about, like you're talking about like the kid at school, right? Like, dude, my kids don't know what lunch money is because they have they have a code, right? They memorize their number code, and that's how they buy lunch. And I fill their code up with a credit card. You know?
Wow.
Yes.
Do they do that just for technical shit, or do they do that to avoid bullying?
Well, I think a little bit of both. It's probably easier because, like, you know, I mean, I know I lost my lunch money, right?
Yeah, dude.
You know, like you just lose it sometimes. Like you drop it somewhere, you can't find it, and then you have like a 7-year-old who can't eat lunch today because he doesn't have like lunch money.
Yeah.
Right? So that's a problem, you know, that schools have always faced, and maybe the bully thing. I don't know. I'm not in the school, but what I know is like nobody can take my lunch money. Right?
It's tough because those are really important life lessons.
I agree,
man.
but the same thing with an adult. Like, dude, if you got your wallet stolen, how much money's going to be in there?
Yeah.
Your credit cards are going to be in there, right? And you'll call the bank, and they guarantee that shit. You cancel your credit cards, you get all your money back. So you don't give a fuck about you losing. Like, I mean, it's just a little inconvenient, you know?
Yeah.
So that's why the whole thing has changed, because like you're not afraid. Like, someone has to, like, identity theft is a pain in the ass, right? If they actually steal your identity. You know, that shit's real, but like losing your wallet, that's no big deal. So of course it had, like, our fear had to change, and it makes sense that it's social exception because all we do is sit on our fucking computers and basically our phones and like scroll through Instagram and Facebook and Snapchat.
It's weird, and it's like that shit, that part of the brain, like the social attachment system. It's like now it's been made hyperactive, but like.
Well, it's like porn, right? It's no different than porn. You're getting this massive dopamine response from somebody liking a photo you put.
Yeah. It's crazy.
So you want more of it. You know, you want more and more and more of it.
I think the two most valuable things you can teach your kid is like learn to not, or anybody, fuck kids, you know what I mean? Like anybody, but like learn to not care about getting beaten up and learn to not care about getting shunned. And if you can manage those things, you have fucking freedom. Like there's an old Bruce Lee quote that was like instrumental in my life as a young kid. And excuse the gender specificity, but it says, freedom finds man the moment he loses concern over the impression he is or is about to be making.
Yeah.
And that to me is gospel, man. Like that's the truth for me, because like, as long as you give a shit about the opinions of others, you're not free.
No. They're your dopamine.
Yeah.
They're your drug.
That's a huge bummer. You know what I mean? Like that's a bigger issue. That's a bigger issue, I think, than being scared of getting beaten up. You know what I mean? Because it happens every day. Like you're only going to get scared. Like you're only going to be threatened with physical violence. Now in the modern world, you're only going to be facing physical violence a couple times in your life, if that, you know? But you're going to face like learning how to have courage in the face of being shunned is going to happen every day, literally every day. Yeah. And it's like, if you lose your courage in that sense, you're just going to be trapped for the rest of your life.
I do think the easiest way to teach that too is through like the teaching them not to be afraid to get beat up.
But again, jiu-jitsu is like, not to be like a fucking jiu-jitsu salesperson, but man, I don't know what else to say, because it's like you can't not learn both lessons. Do you know what I'm saying? You can't do jiu-jitsu without acclimating to a fear of physical pressure. And you also have to face feeling stupid. It's a fucking solo sport, man. It's a team sport in the sense that your flag is on your back and your family is in your corner. And I get it. But the moment of truth, you're on your fucking own, dude. You know what I mean? Like, and you can go out and have moments where you look absolutely foolish.
All the time.
Yeah, man. I've had fights that are some of my most deeply shamed moments happened in the ring. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, in front of everybody.
Brutal. And I don't mean because I lost. Like, I lost fights I'm super proud of. You know what I mean? Like,
fuck yeah.
I've had fights that I lost that I'll show on the highlight reel proudly because they were good goddamn scraps.
Dude, all I do is make videos of like inspirational videos, and almost every picture I take is from the Vera fight, and I lost that one.
Yeah, dude, it's great. It's awesome, right? But like, man, I've had moments where I didn't do the quit. I did a form of quitting that is more insidious, and fighters will know what I'm talking about and feel a deep shame and not want to admit it. But I did the most insidious form of quitting. Like obvious quitting is when you just go, I'm done, and you tap and you're like, get me out of here. And everybody can see it and everybody can make fun of it, and you have to face that, right? I've done the other kind of quitting where you just don't go through the open windows as they present because you've already given up.
You're putting the onus on the referee to save you.
You don't quit. I didn't quit. Right? I didn't quit. And when I get done with this, I'm even going to get my dick sucked a little bit because people are going to talk about how tough and game I was because I didn't quit. But the truth is, I fucking quit.
I quit. Yep.
I quit because I stopped trying.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean?
You're putting it on the ref now, right? Like, are you taking a bad enough beating, for me to stop this?
Like, I'll never stop, but I find more shame in the times. Because it's not even a question. Like, stopping is not a question. That's not even.
Yeah, but sometimes, right? You could you don't go through the right open door in a fight, and you could get hit in a way that incapacitates you.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. Like my moments where I have not taken the opportunities that I should have put me in the spiral that caused me to get beaten to the point where the ref stopped the fight rightfully.
Right. Yes.
You know what I mean? But yeah, man, like, I mean, I'm not going to just go like, I'm done and take me out of the
right.
You know what I mean?
You're not tapping. You're not tapping from strikes.
I'm going to take my beating for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not going to like those moments where you've had that quiet quit where it's like, you just aren't trying to win. You said something to me a long time ago that was really interesting. I've used this before. I've said this before to a lot of people. I don't even know if you remember it. We were talking about fights one time, and you said something really, really good, man, really insightful. You were like, the guy that's thinking about not losing is. And I was like, fuck, man, that's true. If you're on the bottom of the mount and you're thinking, when I get out of here, I'm whooping your ass. That is a different thing than the guy on top going, oh, dear God, please don't escape this mount please don't escape this mount.
Dude, man, I have this fighter right now, Corey Sandhagen.
Yeah.
Holy shit. He got, in not his last fight, I mean, it's exactly what you just said. He got flying triangled. Like, he's a ninja, bro. Corey's a fucking ninja. He can be the champion. Really can. And he got hit and like went to slip, and then like, that little indentation where the gap between the cage and the fence, like he slipped and he got caught in there and tripped a little bit, and then the dude hit this ninja flying triangle, and then dude, he was in the shit for the next 3 minutes, nose busted, face all bloody, arm getting broken from an arm bar inside the triangle. But then literally, like the second that he got out, he put a beating on, like no even hesitation from like the second that he got out and was on top of it, like the way he got out, he ended up on top. No, even like, all right, let me chill in this dude's closed guard for a second. Just put the beating of a lifetime on this guy, and that's what he was doing. He was like, man, when I get out of this shit, you're gonna get fucked up.
Yep. And that's important, man. It's like people don't realize that lesson is one of the most important lessons that you can learn from jiu-jitsu. But again, it's like that fear of rejection you got to face on the mat, because you have to put yourself on the line and test yourself. You have to try new moves. You don't learn a new game without going out looking stupid. You know what I mean? Like if you try some new move, you're going to get swept, and you're going to get swept by dudes that ain't got no business sweeping you.
For a long time. It doesn't just happen tomorrow.
Yeah. You know what I mean? And you have to be okay with looking stupid. You have to be okay with fucking up, and you have to be okay with people laughing at developing this new thing or whatever. And you got to be okay with getting your ass beat in public and like all of those things.
And you have to be okay, like for jiu-jitsu guys, you have to be okay with walking in the locker room and hearing somebody talk about how they beat you possibly. And then not because you're there, and maybe not even because like it still might be a really big deal for them to beat you, right?
Yeah.
Even just to sweep you, and your reaction can't be, all right, well, the next time I'm gonna fuck that dude up, because now all of your learning has stopped.
Isn't it interesting? That reminded me, totally off topic, but not off topic. That reminded me of this thing I was telling somebody the other day. The position you're in now, isn't it fucking weird how, in order for your students to impress you, they have to try to murder you? Do you know what I'm talking about? Like, so if I've got a guy and he's doing really well and he's really proud of himself, like if I was a skateboard trick instructor and my student really wanted to show me how good he was doing, you know what I mean? Like he would go, hey, check this out, watch. And he'd do all his best tricks in an attempt to show me like, man, look how good I'm doing. And then I could go, man, that's awesome. You're really coming along. But when he wants to show me how good he's doing at kicking somebody's ass, for him to show me, he's got to kick my ass.
Sure, but I have to feel it a little bit, and not even like he's trying, trying to go that hard. But I have to feel it. If you want to tell me,
Dad, that's their version of look, Dad, no hands.
Yeah,
like look, I'm doing the wheelie, Dad. Can you see it? And I'm like, yeah, it's on my face, bro. I can see it.
Sure, you just passed my guard and you're mounted on me. Yes, okay.
That's awesome.
And it's coming, right? Like, man, if you do your job right as a teacher, like, bro, I got these kids coming, man. Holy fuck, Jay. Like, I mean, I barely got out of my student's triangle the last time I trained with him, But it was on, man. Like, and he's like 180 pounds. He's going to be a monster. Like black belts come to the school, and like he's a blue belt,
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, man. And he beats them. He beats them.
Right.
He beats them, and they're like, "Whoa, what's going on here?" Like the last dude, the last black belt that came, like this black belt qualified for Worlds, and my blue belt beat him.
Wow. Yeah.
And my blue belt might not win pans this week.
Sure.
Because that's just what the level is a little bit this nowadays, for like young competitors. But shit, like, yeah, he's like, I don't have much longer.
Yeah.
Because I can't train like that every day.
What people don't understand is it's like, it's great. It's not a bummer.
No, it's amazing. I love it.
Yeah. The people that think it's a bummer don't understand. You know what I mean? Like, I like having to, like you're like embrace the grind or whatever. Like I like those moments where you get to try to fight your way out from underwater. You know what I mean? And it's awesome. Like when everybody in my gym does that to me, it's going to be great. Like it's going to be wonderful because one, how awesome is it that they've gotten that good? And two, like, now I get a chance to practice. Like, when's the last time I got to practice keeping my face straight? I did a fight to win match a couple months ago. That's cool. but it has been damn near a year,
Right.
Like, fuck, like when do I get to practice? Like when everybody in my gym becomes a fucking killer, I'll get to practice keeping my face straight every day. Cause these guys are going to take my face off if I don't keep it straight.
It's, like I have these rules for my kids. It's, my next book is, the 6 rules for you and your kids. Yep. And it's really just the 6 rules for me.
Sure.
Yep. It's really my 6 rules for Elliot. And they apply to my children as well because they're going to teach good life lessons. But like you were just saying it, like to come up from underwater. My rule number 2 is they have to know how to swim. Like, literally they have to know how to swim. It's the number 1 cause of death for kids over 2. Sure. So they have to have this skill. But yeah, man, you have to learn how to keep your nose and your mouth above water. Because you're not always going to be able to jump out the gym like LeBron James every day.
Sure.
Some days you're just going to have to survive. You're just going to have to be like, all right, today's a tread water day.
People learning how to control their face. It's always just like, those are the basic lessons. Like, learn how to put up, like, don't be scared of getting beat up. Don't be scared of rejection. Learn to control your fucking face. Do you know what I mean? Like, people that make these faces, like, it destroys me.
You have them at hello.
Some guy,
you have them at hello.
Some guy came in the gym yesterday. It's always funny to me when people visit from other gyms. If nobody knows me and you just show up thinking you're at a jiu-jitsu school, do you know what I mean? Well, I mean, I don't want to make it sound like I'm some kind. I ain't special, you know what I mean? Like, I'm just me. I'm who I am, But it's like people that don't know the deal show up, and like this guy was like, the shit I was teaching some neck crank or something. And he literally goes, "Why would you show people this?" And I'm like, "Why would you not, dude?" He's like, "Is this legal?" I'm like, "I don't know. Where do you shower?" Like, of course it's legal if you're trying to murder somebody, bro. Like, I don't know. What are you doing? Like, why would you care if it's fucking legal?
Where do you shower? So let's redress to another shower, then another story. Where do you shower? So there's this. Go ahead.
This guy is like, but anyway, so he's like all tripped out about the techniques, and he's like, Jesus Christ, like, it's not IBJJF approved shit. And then we're doing something and putting pressure on the guy, and it's like really uncomfortable pressure. And the dude goes, "Am I doing it right?" And the guy went, yeah, it's really uncomfortable. And he goes, "You didn't make a face." And this is what scared the dude more than me talking to him or doing anything else. He goes, "Well, you weren't making a face, so I couldn't tell if I'm doing it right." And this is like a 2-stripe white belt. This is like a fucking accountant that plays D&D on the weekends or something. Like, he's not a monster. But even the culture drips down even into that kid. The guy goes, "I couldn't tell if I was doing it right because you didn't make a face." And he looks at him and he goes, "Nah, we're not allowed to make faces." And the guy was like horrified. He was just like, "Where the fuck am I? What do you mean you're not allowed to make faces?" He goes, "Yeah, Jay doesn't like it when you make faces like that." And the dude was just like, "I gotta go."
But dude, it's what we have to be teaching.
Yeah.
Yeah,
for sure.
Like, come on, man. You can't tell me that your armbar matters or your neck crank mattered. It doesn't fucking matter. Right?
Yeah.
Who cares? Who cares if you can?
This is the thing I tell people. There's no place on a cadaver's body that I can stem and make them make that face. Like, if your face was like, if I stem your bicep, I can make your forearm flex. If I stem the tendon of your arm, I can make your hand close. But there's no place from the neck down I can stem your body and make that fucking whiny face. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's a fucking choice you made.
But this is just a huge lesson.
That is not a physiological response. No. You know what I mean? Like, if you hit me in the solar plexus, I'm going to lose my breath. My diaphragm's going to cramp. It is going to make me exhale loudly. I get it. Those are all physiological. But that fucking face you made, that was a choice.
I might even have to go down to a knee.
Yeah, but like, I might lose my breath and pass out, but I don't need to make a face.
Right. And this
like, that face is a fucking choice. That's the thing I tell people about fighting. I'm like, not about fighting, about life, man. I'm like, look, here's the deal. There's 3 things that you can fucking control. You can control your breathing, your face, and your thoughts. And that's it. Everything else is fucked. Everything else is a shit show, crapshoot, not under your control. But man,
I don't think you can control your thoughts. You can learn how to deal with them. I get some fucked up thoughts.
Okay, you get into neuroscience, right? Like the problem is being able to stop the feedback loop, right? Like, so you have the every mammal, like dogs have the same emotional centers as humans do. They have the same fear, panic, rage, seeking system, mating urges. Like those are all physiologically the same in dogs and people and monkeys and whatever, right? The difference is humans have the ability to create conscious thoughts. Like, so our forebrain is larger and we can have thoughts, and those thoughts can create emotion. So when I say you can control your thoughts, that's actually not very accurate. What I mean to say is that you can learn to control your emotions. You can have a thought about
agree. Okay, now we agree.
You can have a thought about like, dude, I think I'm going to lose this match. That's a thought. You can't control that thought coming in your head, but you can control whether or not that thought sparks
something else,
emotions in your brain.
Yeah,
you know
for sure. So I mean, like, I'm still scared every night that I might not sleep. You know,
sure.
Like I don't like try to have that thought, but every night it comes, and now I get to like do what I want with that thought.
Yes. So they've done studies that thoughts that you have, like you can give yourself mantras and you can give yourself these things to do and think. You can have a feedback loop. That's what makes humans unique. Like we can have a feedback loop between our thoughts and our emotions. We can have an emotional response that we didn't choose to have an emotional response. We can have panic, but then we can use our thoughts, and that feedback loop created by our thoughts can go in and affect our emotional state. And dogs can't do that. You can't tell a dog to think about what it's fearing and realize how irrational it is and blah, 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 blah. Like you can't do that. They're just fucking scared. Right. But people can stop. You can change and create emotion via your thoughts.
Yes.
Right. So like,
okay.
So when I say
I agree with you.
That's a slang term. That's not accurate, because what I really mean to say is you control your emotions, but most people don't have the time for me to on the side of the mat when they're trying to stop crying. They don't have the time for me to explain the difference. Sure. So I tell people like, man, you can control your thoughts, your face, and your breathing.
Yep.
And that's where you start. You know what I mean? Like when everything's fucked up, start breathing. Get your breathing under control. Now that that's under control, get your fucking face under control. Now that that's under control, get your thoughts under control. And once you've done those things, you're as good as you can be. You know what I mean? But like, don't let them take you out of those things. You know?
Yeah, man. These are these are the lessons people need to learn. You know, these like, it's not, and it's not easy. You know, but it actually is, because all you have to do is go to jiu-jitsu. It's like I talked about my rules. It's why it's rule number 1, because it creates the very, very best human being that can possibly be created. Like, and there's nothing else to do. But because when you walk in long enough, you know, there it is. And you don't, and the only prerequisite is to walk in the door. There's like, just keep doing that. Like, we're gonna go back to it, you know, like to end the show. Like, dude, if Jay could explain to you guys, all of you, like how big of a pussy I was, like how big of a coward I was, man, it like, and I still kind of am, probably. Like that's who I am by nature. Like that, like there's nothing I can do about that other than get nurtured differently. And you nurtured me, you know, and like I had other people nurture me into like this whole different life. Like, you know, if that's who I was, I would have negative listeners on my podcast. I would have sold negative books. Like, no, like, you didn't understand. You didn't understand what you were. Yeah. Like everybody has fear. Everybody has doubt. It's like that fucking super played out saying, you know, like courage is not the absence of fear, but action in the face of fear, however the fuck it goes, right? It's like you just didn't know that a person who had the feelings that you had could also be brave. Like you thought that because you had those feelings, it meant you were not one of those people. You didn't know at that time that gave you the opportunity to become one of those people. Yes. Because people that aren't scared are just fucking stupid. They're just, they're just dolts. They're just not scared. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like who you were gave you the opportunity to be who you are, because it's like you conquered you faced the fear. You know what I mean?
And that's what makes brave. Like, you want to be strong, you pick up heavy shit. Then that's how you get strong. You want to be brave, you face heavy fear. And you had the potential to be extremely brave because you had so much fear, you know?
And more people need to see that.
Yeah.
Like the cowardice is that's potential. All that is potential for greatness, you know? And man,
they have a built-in gym.
Yeah.
In their head, you know what I mean? Like honestly, it's like it's like how kids that work on a farm don't need to exercise quite as much because it's built in, you know what I mean? Somebody that has to face a fear just from walking outside has a built-in strength gym in their head.
I just went over this with Kanan, he's like, why are you so hard on me sometimes, you know? And I'm like, he's like, where Beeps, he calls my dad Beeps. He goes, where Beeps' parents hard on him? I was like, dude, Beeps' life was terrible. Like, my dad had to like boil water on a stove to like take a bath. You know, there were 6 of them in a 1-bedroom house. I was like, nobody had to make Beeps' life hard. Beeps' life was just hard. Like,
life was hard.
Yeah, you know, so there was no teaching Beeps struggle. I was like, look at your life, buddy. You know, you like look at your life. We're going to Hawaii tomorrow. You know, it's the second time you've been this year. Like, well, I'm sorry, not this year. In the last 12 months, you know, like we go twice. Like I have to make your life hard because
you know. Yeah.
So
it's funny because it's like it's the same thing. Like when you called me about your dog, it was the same thing. I'm like, where does he get to fight?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like where's the struggle? Like he's got to have some, or he's gonna fucking either fall apart or find it.
Yeah.
Either one is bad.
Either one's bad. So.
Yeah, both of them are bad. But it sounds like we're about to go, dude. I wanted to make sure I don't want to pitch too hard, but like the that reality check show.
Oh yeah. Tell. It was awesome, bro.
It's really interesting. You know what I mean? Like honestly, like combat jiu-jitsu is interesting for sure. The way that we do it that's different than combat jiu-jitsu. Like we start with open hand strikes standing as well as on the ground. So instead of just being a grounded affair, they can throw strikes standing up. But like, honestly, the no-gi version, it's cool. It's exciting. It's neat, but it's not that intriguing because for decades now we have seen what no-gi grappling with strikes looks like. There's very few hidden weird things. Like what's his face did an Imanari roll to BJ and that was like, holy shit. But when's the last time you said, holy shit? Because something you didn't know could work in a fight worked in a fight. You know what I mean? Like it's the science has been played through enough that we know mostly what to expect. But gi with striking,
dude,
is something that is not seen. And it's interesting because it's like even in Valley Tudo, it'd be one guy in a gi and the other guy not. In Sabaki, like you can hold the gi, but there's no groundwork. In Judo, there's grabbing the gi, but there's no strikes. You know what I mean? Like we really do, and like that whole thing people talk about sport jiu-jitsu has evolved and like the game is so different now. Back in the day, man, 15 years ago when me and you were coming up, every blue belt that knew how to roll with a gi would also do like a challenge fight. Like you'd do a little fight. You'd go with the little touches. Yeah. That was part of the game. But the gi wasn't as developed. There was no lapel guard. There was no worm guard. There was no the variations on spider guard and berimbolo and shit weren't there. So then it's like now that the gi has had so much time to develop, if you can add some strikes back into it, like what still exists? Like which of those games are applicable? Because the problem is some of it is fucking stupid. Some of it will get you fucking jacked in the mouth. But some of it is real.
And I think it's really cool to find out what is.
Yeah, dude, for sure. So I'm really looking forward to it.
And for me, like the whole combat jiu-jitsu thing it's just what you said. Like I don't want to knock it. Like Eddie Bravo's done a great job, you know?
Sure.
But like it just like you said, we've seen this. We know what it looks like. Like sure. Combat jiu-jitsu is like this softened down version of it.
It's MMA light.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I don't like you know, I mean I don't like Budweiser, I do like Bud Light. You know, but like, you know, but like, there's very many light things that I like. Like I want to like, and I hate that. Like, okay, you know what made me mad about the combat jiu-jitsu thing?
What's that?
Like it didn't happen, But let's say Gordon Ryan would have beat Fabricio Verdum. Let's say that, dude, in a fight, Fabricio would murk that motherfucker.
Sure, of course. Yeah.
So even the thought that people would then say Gordon could fuck up Fabricio would upset me, right? Fabricio was the heavyweight champion of the fucking world. Like legit baddest dude on planet, the whole point with combat jiu-jitsu, like, you can only grapple, right? You can only win through grappling.
Yep.
So like the fear for the grappler, for like me and you in fighting, was like, one, getting the guy to the ground, right?
Yeah.
And then two, when that dude wants to stand up and kick your head off, it's a whole different feeling.
Sure. Yeah.
It's a whole different feeling than two guys agreeing to like stay on the ground. Yeah.
And I mean, the thing for me, like, because I don't want it to be MMA light, I want it to be jiu-jitsu, but the problem is, it's the reason we call it a reality check. It's like the two biggest things, like, you know what I'm talking about when you start jiu-jitsu, it's too far, too fucking close, man. You know what I mean? Like, distance is the commodity. Like, you've got to control the distance or it doesn't exist anymore. Like, you don't stay awake if you don't control the distance. And so the idea of distance control is integral to fighting jiu-jitsu. But when you take strikes away, it no longer becomes a concern. And then after a few generations, it's gone. And then people don't even understand it or know it, right? And you don't need to add elbows and headbutts to make people respect distance.
No.
If you just add a slap, I mean, you're not going to be scared of it, and it's not Vale Tudo, but it will make you remember there is a commodity called distance, and we have to deal with it.
Distance is the most important thing, because take the strikes away and distance is still very important.
Yeah, of course. It's made more important the more danger you add.
Right. Yeah, it's super important, man. Distance.
But there's no in reality check rules, there's no sitting there and wiping your nose all cocky in a closed guard.
Sure. Yeah, no. Where can people check out the your event?
It's also like slams. It's like slams change things too. So I think adding slams and strikes changes what works and what doesn't work.
For sure.
And it's gonna be like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm really intrigued at seeing, I want to get higher level people in the gi.
It'll be
that are willing to do it, and it's a tough sell because the guys that are MMA guys that are willing to do it don't want to wear the gi,
right? And
the guys that are gi oriented are like, I don't know that I want you to slap me.
Don't you touch my face.
But
that's how they feel.
And what I saw in the last event we had was the two more advanced gi matches had the least amount of strikes. It's hard. If someone is using the gi as it is intended in jiu-jitsu to control the distance, it's difficult to strike.
Yeah, because you'll get one to die. Like, you'll be like, oh, here it is. I land. Oh, shit, I'm triangle.
And it's gone. It was the amount of strikes were telling, I think. And I think when guys that are good with the gi see that you could still do spider and you could still do lapel guard, and it made the strikes less likely, I think they might be a little more willing to get in the fire a little bit,
and we wear clothing outside.
Dude, it's realistic. It pisses me off, man. Like, when people like that UFC tagline, as real as it gets, I'm like, when I hear them say that, I don't think it's badass.
It's not true.
Like, I think it's sad. I think it's sad that is as real as it is. That is as real as it gets. And that's sad. Do you know what I mean? Like, dude, guys come in here and they're all like, I want to be realistic and blah, 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 or whatever. And I'm like, man, if a dude grabs your shirt and starts feeding you punches and you have never dealt with grips, you're dead, because your arm drag's not going to work. Your fucking post and drop under his arm's not going to work. Your snap down's not going to work. They're going to fucking hockey fuck your face and you're not going to know what to do about it. And that is sad, because you've had 10 goddamn fights. And you don't know how to deal with a dishwasher grabbing your jacket and feet. That's fucking terrible. That's a shame.
Oh, shit. That was fucking funny.
So,
where can people watch your reality?
I don't have a website or anything. It's not really a business revenue stream.
It's on YouTube though, right? Somewhere where people can check it out.
Yeah, one of my guys put it on YouTube. If you go to the Facebook page, there's a reality check BJJ competition Facebook group. Join that, and there's videos and links and posters and stuff. We're doing them every couple months. Right now, it's local to East Coast people because like I don't have money, like I'm not flying people out. Like this is a celebration of jiu-jitsu. It's not a revenue stream. So it's like I was able to pay, I took out of my own pocket and paid fight of the night $100 and shit like that. But like it's we're not making a run at making a business out of it, right? It's just to try to celebrate jiu-jitsu.
For sure.
But if anybody's into it, like if you guys want to go, we make a little bit of money at each show that I can start putting towards fighters and putting back in. I'm hoping we get some people from around, you know what I mean?
Fuck yeah.
Fuck, I'll fly out there and put one on out there if you want.
It would be cool. Let's talk about it.
Because hockey fighting with the gi on is fucking awesome.
Dude, you're you're one of the most innovative people I know. Like there's so many people doing your ideas that like that you first thought of. You know, so for me, so. All right, man, I got to roll, but kids are getting home from school, but thanks, man. I appreciate it. You're the man, bro.
Always, man. I'm really proud of the shit you're doing, Elliot. Like, you know what I mean? Like, whatever, I'm an influence to you and all that good shit, but like watching you accomplish the shit you're accomplishing makes me insanely proud and makes me realize I got work to do because I could do more, you know?
We all can, man. Right? Like so, that's the goal, is to change people's lives. Like when you talked about like what you do, I do this thing called the dig. I talk about it sometimes, like my word's power. I have one word that defines me, and I want to show people how they can have their own power.
Yep.
So that's it. All right, man. You're the man. Thanks, Jay.
All right, dude. I'll talk to you later, bro.
Later, bro. All right, guys, thanks for listening to this episode of The Gospel of Fire. Don't forget to check me out on all of my social media at FireMarshal205. Again, at FireMarshal205. Go to my YouTube channel, FireMarshal01, that is, for YouTube, where you can follow. I'm making these videos 100K strong. That's the goal for the year. I want 100,000 strong listeners to The Gospel of Fire. So I'm trying to make a video a week so that you guys can follow along on my journey of how I go about my day, some things that I talk about, some things that I try to work on for myself. And then finally, don't forget my website, EliotMarshall.com, where you can get up to date with everything that has to do with me personally, The Gospel of Fire. You're going to find all about my book release, also called The Gospel of Fire, February 12th. It will be for sale on Amazon that whole week for 99 cents. So all that information at EliotMarshall.com. Thanks again for listening. Thanks to my sponsors, Evo Labs and On It. So that's it, guys. Hope you enjoyed the episode.